Welcome to the Better with Beers podcast, episode 18. Brandon, Alex, and Earl back at it again. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
So,
Hey, what's up?
What's up? We're back this week, and it was Earl's turn to pick the beer flavor of or beer type of the night, and we're doing a wheat ale.
yeah. I was thinking it's starting to get warm. I did a nice wheat, something crisp and refreshing. And it sounded really good when I was. It was pointed out that it was my turn. I'm like, what would I really like to drink right now? Of course, it's like 9:00 in the morning, but yeah, it sounded pretty good.
Yeah, no, for sure. We haven't
5 o'clock somewhere.
Right?
Yeah, we haven't featured a wheat ale yet, so that's good. What's crazy is, and I know we've mentioned this on other episodes before, but my beer store that I go to, I've literally found like one craft wheat ale in there. It's all IPAs. There's so many IPAs.
Yeah, that's sad.
IPA.
And honestly, like I kind of had that because when we did one of the I think it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago when we did the brown ale.
Yeah.
Brandon, I think you picked that one up, and
Mhm.
it was so hard for me to find a brown ale. I had the same complaint this time. It was so hard for me to find. No, it wasn't hard for me to find a wheat. It was hard for me to find a non-Belgian wheat. Because I was trying to go outside because they're all Belgian wheats, you know.
Yeah.
And I was trying to go outside of that. And,
Well, it is a Belgian-based beer. They usually use Belgian yeast to make it. But yeah, no, I got you.
yeah.
So we'll feature our beers first, and then our theme for the night, if you can't tell from me and Alex's background, is casino/gambling night. That's what we're talking about. And Earl came up with the idea. I was like definitely on board because I definitely have a few stories that I can tell as far as gambling.
Well, we're actually getting ready to get a casino built in the local town right by me, Caesars. But Virginia State finally passed that they finally allowing gambling, legalized gambling in the state of Virginia. So as soon as
I didn't even know they didn't allow that.
Oh yeah, it's not allowed everywhere.
Oh wow.
Is it just like but is it because Delaware was like that for a while, but they were just like that for table games, not slot machines.
So they
like
now all of a sudden like a light switch turned on and we're getting like DraftKings TV advertisements and stuff. So they open up some horse racing parlors, but they're only going to allow so many actual casinos, and it's going to be like everything in a casino, everything from tables, poker rooms and slots and all that stuff. Now you can go in some of these little. I don't know if you guys seen those fish tables before.
Fish tables?
Yeah, they're called fish tables, and they're in these little pop up. I don't know. They're really dingy because you can't call them a casino. But they're just electronic games. I've seen them in gas stations even.
Oh yeah.
They make small ones in gas stations, but then they make huge ones that are like a table, and they call them fish tables because the first ones were like these cartoon fish throw around. You're supposed to hit certain things. There's a certain thing, but what they call those a skill-based game. Supposedly, there's a way you can do that and get really good at it and make money doing it. Therefore, it's skill-based. It's not a randomness gambling thing. So they got around. So the lottery commission fought all those for so long to the point where the state just finally said, you know what, we're just going to legalize gambling altogether. So we don't have to fight with this skill-based game. Or whether it's a game of chance is what is the difference is.
Counting cards a skill?
I don't know how high can you count.
Plus, I would think Virginia would finally realize hey, we're missing out on a lot of income here.
Yeah, that's what's happening. But they're trying to find the best way to make income from it. So they're limiting, they're allowing all those electronic type games in gas stations now, and they're limiting how many casinos and of course they're doing it in the most profitable way possible. So out towards the mountains, right on the North Carolina line, they're all on the southern border of Virginia right now. So there's 3 locations. One's on the western side, one's in the central, one's all the way up by the Virginia Beach area. But they're all close enough to North Carolina, so people in North Carolina can come over and take advantage of that also. So of course I live in South Central Virginia, and that's where the one that's getting popped up for us. So I don't know. We'll see how far it goes and if they start expanding more, but it probably gonna be like a 10-year experiment, honestly.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Let's feature our beers first. Earl, you can have the honor since you picked the type of beer tonight.
So I don't think I've done this one on the podcast, but I know I've had it before. This is a Hefeweizen. It's a German wheat Munich wheat beer. This is actually imported from Munich. It's imported from Germany. and I can't see exactly where, but it's a Bavarian beer. It's imported from Bavaria.
See, I
But
wouldn't have minded getting finding like a German wheat beer like that because I don't know, like I got to be in the mood for Belgians just because that Belgian sweetness that you get from
right,
the yeast that they use in Belgian beers, almost like a candy.
right.
It's good, but I don't know. I
Well,
got to
this
be in the
isn't
mood
that
for it.
like a candy type flavor. This is like you're eating a slice of like fresh baked bread.
Mm,
Like it's that very yeasty, really like homemade bread, not Sunbeam or anything like that.
as I'm
Something
sure a wheat
homemade
should
where you
taste.
actually put the yeast in the dough, you let it rise before you start kneading it and cooking it.
Yeah.
That really fresh taste, the bready and yeasty taste, and kind of a clovey, and it's got a little bit of that banana taste to it. So it's super good. I love this stuff.
Hmm.
Very nice.
Yep.
All
How
right,
about you,
Alex.
Brandon?
Oh, me? All right. So,
See you fondling something over there.
yeah, I was just. It's
Saw
my
that, didn't
beer.
you?
It's my beer. Don't worry. No, I was pre-pouring it so we could see the color beforehand. But yeah, we were talking before we started recording, and I mentioned in past episodes how like the beer store I go to, it's like a smaller beer store, ton of craft beer, but it's like primarily IPAs. Like everything else looking at IPAs, and I want to find a local craft wheat beer, and I found one. Like literally, I mean, maybe I missed a couple just looking over it because I was half awake because I took a late nap today. Um, but I found one, and you know what? I'm gonna say this is our guest for the night for a reason. We have a
Okay.
special guest tonight,
Okay.
and his name is Dave.
Dave.
What's up, Dave?
What?
Dave.
Say hi to Dave.
All right. Does Dave stand for something, or
I I
just
didn't look
short for
up.
David?
I, I I didn't look up online like their back history on why they named it Dave, but
That's interesting.
it's a local brewing company. It's called Langhorne Brewing, Langhorne, PA. Wheat beer, 4.8%. Very basic can. Yeah, it's literally the only one I found. Never had it. Just literally just poured it. And mine's also very. I got my beer late tonight. My beer store is like redoing the whole inside, and all the refrigerators are like in the back, not set up yet. So no beer was actually cold. I had to throw it in the freezer, but
Hmm. That's funny. I mean,
really good smell to it.
I know you like beers with interesting artwork, but sometimes
Mhm.
something just that simple just jumps out at you.
Yeah, it's cool too. Yeah, the simplicity of it. Yeah, it's good.
It's a wheat.
It's a wheat beer. Yeah, not super strong. Actually, that'd be a good like beer in the summer. Not too strong, easy drinking.
I'm loving this warm weather.
Dave's a very simple guy. Not much to him. Just good to hang out with. No
Not too
drama.
complex.
No
It
drama.
is a
Not too
pretty simple
complex.
name, I
Yeah.
mean, instead of like something real complex like a heavy stout or something like that would be like Bertha or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Big Bertha.
Give me a Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like it though.
Cool.
All right, Alex, you up?
So I'm not going to use a fancy glass like you guys are. I'm just going to drink it out of the bottle. But so I picked up it's from Victory called Whirlwind.
Cool.
It's a citrus wit and Pilsner wheat beer. Hops that are used are Tettnang, and the additions are grapefruit flavor, orange peel, and coriander.
Sounds interesting.
So something a little outside of just the your typical wheat. I was seeing citrus wheat beers and wit beers and things like that. So yeah, and this is I love Victory, and this is the first time I've never seen this on the shelves. So I talked to the person that rung me up, and they said that they just got it in. So
Yeah, I can get two Victories down here. We're in Virginia. I get this. We get the Sour Monkey and the Golden Monkey. Golden Monkey's pretty good.
Gold Monkey.
pretty good. It's got that little bit of
Yeah.
a citrus, kind of sweet,
Mm.
doughy.
Nice.
Definitely get that wheatness in there. It was funny. You know what this reminds me of? In the beginning of the whole pandemic thing, when everyone was rushing to the stores to buy up all the milk, eggs, and toilet paper. And one of the other things that also was running out was flour because people started making their own bread because they couldn't buy bread.
Well, I think a lot of it was they were bored and doing a lot of baking too.
Yeah, that too. And so I was like, I'll hop on that bandwagon. Why not? never baked any bread before. So, I found some yeast and, looked up the ingredients and everything like that. I already had flour and, put it all together. I'm not a baker. I let it set overnight so it could rise. I came down. It looked like it rose a little bit, and the whole kitchen smelled like this beer
Right.
does.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that smells like beer. I love it. Apparently, I put way too much yeast in there because
Well,
when I pulled
you
the
probably
towel
let it
off
sit too
top of
long
it,
too. Overnight's a long time to let it sit.
yeah. So, not only that, but it hadn't like it wasn't very firm either. Like it was like it was like a gel, not like an actual dough. So I don't know what I did wrong, but again, I'm not a baker. But
On air though. Try
it
on
made
air.
made the kitchen smell like this beer. So
That's awesome.
That's always
it was a
good.
complete
Worth
loss.
it.
Smell.
Bottle that stuff and just make it a cologne.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. No,
Sure.
make it a perfume. I'd rather a girl smell like that than a guy.
So, how was your guys' Easter? Easter was this past weekend. What you guys do?
Alex?
So we had some people over for Easter dinner. Well, all right. So we had 2 Easter dinners. We had a friend's Easter dinner. We went to a friend's house and everyone kind of pitched in. It was like a covered dish type deal. We all set up a little group chat and, said, okay, I'm going to bring this, you're going to bring that. We all brought the food together. We also, because everyone has kids now, we also had a big Easter egg hunt for all the kids.
Nice.
And I think everyone pitched in Easter eggs. They packed their own Easter eggs to bring and hide. And I think the total number of Easter eggs that we had was like 450 eggs,
Wow.
across the whole yard. And I mean, the yard it's a pretty big property too. So, there was about 40 people there, probably about 20 kids.
Nice.
And they had a blast. And then our other friends ended up getting big Easter eggs, and those were the adult Easter eggs, and they packed like mini shots and stuff like that in them.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
I took the baby home because my father-in-law is staying with us. So I took the baby home because she was getting really tired, and I put her down in her own bed. And then father-in-law, said, "Hey, I'll keep an eye on you. Go ahead and head back because it's all in the same town." And so I went back, and by the time I pulled up, one of the guys that was there, he flagged me down as I was pulling into the driveway, and he's like, hey, when you go back there, if you see a basket hanging from the rafters of they have this like really, really tall awning. Long time ago, this property used to be a bus lot. So school buses used to park underneath of this awning. So it's a big awning. And he's like, there's a basket of these eggs hanging in the rafters up there. Don't say anything about it. Don't even look at it. All the girls are going to be coming out and they're going to be looking for it. We're going to tell them that it's like all the way back by the pond in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So they come running out and they're acting all crazy. And they were in there taking shots and everything too, pre-gaming. And they come, I mean, running out like they're chasing after a rabbit. And they're running in all the different directions, and we're yelling, "Oh, you're getting hot! You're getting hot! No, oh, no, cold,
Yeah.
cold!" And they're like, "Wait a minute! Over here's hot, but over here's cold, but over there's hot, but over here's what?" And finally, they saw it, and they all ran up. I swear, it was a miracle that nobody went to the hospital because I was our friend gave me her phone and she's like, I want you to film everything. So of course, first thing I zoomed in on was the basket of eggs hanging from the rafters as they're running out towards the pond. And then when they ran back, they all started like their cheerleaders again, stacking on top of each other, trying to boost each other up to get to the eggs. And I zoomed in on a couple ladders that were hanging on the side of the barn right in the background. But they got them. They didn't fall and break their necks or anything. And
There you go.
Hey, but you had the video ready in case they did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
We went. It's funny you mentioned talking about that. We went to a kid birthday party a few weeks ago, and it was a friend of ours' house. And one of the family, because it was family, and of course we have a little boy that plays with the kid. But then some of their family came. It wasn't a huge thing. It was just really close family friends. And their house is their driveway is like stupid steep. Like you driving up to get to their house. So it's really steep. So they got one of their family members lives across the street from them, but she's actually in a wheelchair. And so when they get up there and they drive her up to the top, get the wheelchair out in the car. And I they don't have a ramp to get into their house. So me and the friend of mine, we picked them, three of us picked up the wheelchair so we could bring her inside and so she can see the kids do presents and all that stuff. So when they're leaving, they started down the driveway, but they're just walking her slowly down the driveway.
Yeah.
And I looked at my friend, and of course it's his family. I said, I'm sorry, but I might have to get out my phone and start recording
Just in
because
case.
this is going to be one of those moments that would be terrible, but it'd be really a shame if you didn't have it on camera.
Yep.
Right.
I didn't record, but
if-
he laughed. He's
it's
like,
like-
you're 100% correct.
Yeah, because if something terrible happened, at least get it on video and make it
Right.
somewhat worth it.
Right.
Right.
It's just
Gotta have
I
witnesses.
mean, as long as she's okay. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're okay. All right, you gotta watch this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
that's funny. Good times. No, my Easter, my dad actually came to visit, which was nice. We he drove down here and spent some time with us. Friday night, actually, me, Alex, and my dad here, and our brother-in-law, we all did bourbon tasting night on that Friday night. So that was fun.
Oh, you went down there, Alex?
No.
Alex,
It was
we did
it was
Zoom.
over.
Oh, over Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
it wasn't really over Zoom. So our brother-in-law, he's not the most technology and savvy, inclined or anything. So finding the right platform to do a video call was a bit
Yeah.
of a challenge.
But we did Google
we-
Duo either way.
Yeah.
we ended up on Google Duo. But it worked.
So, yep, it worked. So anyway, yeah. So we all did that. We had bourbons that Friday night. It was nice. I did a blind tasting for my dad, and he's not done as many different bourbons as we've gotten used to doing.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I want to see if you can pick. I put in some really cheap stuff. I gave him
Yeah.
5, everything from high end to really cheap. And I threw him 1 Irish whiskey in there, just as something different.
Nice.
And he did good. He stacked them up and pretty much the right order you would think. The cheap ones, it's
Oh,
like,
yep.
that's okay, but it's not much
Oh,
going on there.
Well, I was gonna say because when Alex went down there to visit you, you guys actually liked the cheaper.
Yeah, there was one, but see, I'll be honest though, we weren't doing it. We were taking little shots and just we really
Yeah.
weren't thinking about what
Right. Yeah, you weren't.
that was
actually-
like that was New Year's. Since then,
Yeah.
we've all dove into like the proper way to
Yeah.
or I don't want to say the proper way, but the best way to really experience what you're drinking.
right.
How to smell it, how to taste it, how to really analyze what you're drinking and really enjoy it as
Right.
opposed to just shooting it. So anyway,
And speaking of which, I saw Alex. You got the proper tasting glasses. You got a nice little whiskey collection there.
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
It's all thanks to these guys. They're like, oh, you should get this bottle, you should get that bottle, and
Yeah.
and my wife came in because at first I had a couple bottles here, a couple bottles there, like they were in different locations, so it didn't look like I had as much as I had. And then I kind of gathered everything up and centralized it to one location. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I was counting mine up. I got 11 different whiskeys right now in my
Yeah.
house.
Let's not
No.
let's not add this up in dollars. Let's
Yeah.
just add this
right.
up in-
No. Yeah, because I did find Blanton's and
Yeah.
bought that. So
Yeah. That's
So
funny.
anyway, yeah, that's my dad was down. It was nice. We went, we took him out to the mountains. He lives near the beach. He doesn't get to see the mountains as often. And so we went to some really nice overlooks on the Blue Ridge Parkway, old mill. That's, a tourist attraction. And it was a nice, like really mellow weekend. So
Yeah.
it was good.
And nothing too exciting here for me either. I went and visited my family in Pittsburgh 'cause I haven't seen them in a while. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see my grandmother because she hasn't been doing well, and they put her in a nursing home a few days before I went. So with the whole COVID stuff and quarantine, I wasn't able to see her. But got to see my dad, my grandfather, and my aunt while I was there. I had to put in some hard labor. I know Earl saw it, and probably you too, Alex, on my Facebook. I had to install some solar panels on my dad's motorhome, which is
that's pretty cool.
basically me doing 90% of the actual manual labor, and I'm still feeling it. I was telling her I'm still feeling it. My groin, my quads, like all that work up there. I was up
But
there
you
for about-
enjoyed helping your dad out, I'm sure, while you were there.
Yeah,
spending
it was a good
there.
time, and my
Yeah.
uncle was there helping us too. And
Surely
and-
you enjoyed some beers after putting in.
Oh, I
some solar
did.
panels.
I did well-deserved beers after that. Some double IPAs I had brought up. I was up there for a good 4 hours, and I kept my hoodie on and everything the whole time. You know what I mean? My ass will burn, so I kept that on. I had no sunblocks. I kept that on. But it's cool though. 'Cause, my grandfather loves gin and tonic, so I had some gin and tonics with him, which was good. Smoked some cigars. He's a big cigar smoker.
Yeah,
So it was enjoyable. The
good bonding time.
and I put a picture on Facebook. Guys probably saw of me, my dad, and my grandfather, the three generations of Pierces there. So it was a good time seeing them.
Well, I saw two of them at a pickup truck on the ground and you up on the roof. I saw that picture.
Yeah, yeah. It was a video I put up. But yeah, I put a picture up too of me, my dad, and my grandfather,
Yeah,
three generations.
that's
So yeah, it was
cool.
a good weekend.
Good deal.
All right, cool. So let's talk about some gambling.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel-
like, yeah. Well, I talked about why it came to mind, but yeah, I know you guys have probably had some experience in gambling and things like that, and
Brandon definitely more than me.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll start off the first story of talking about the most money I've won in one go. And this is back in 2010. There was a casino in King of Prussia up here. It's about 30 minutes away from me that had just opened at the time. I was living in King of Prussia. And yeah, I had gambled here and there for like slot machines, all that kind of stuff, table games. I like playing everything. I like playing craps, blackjack, all table games basically, all slot machines and poker. I love it all. But I was playing a game there called three card poker. And it's a table game. It's very simple. It's you against. I mean, multiple players at the table, but it's you against a dealer. You get three cards. You look at your three cards, and you have to put out an ante and a bonus bet right away. So let's say it's a $10 table. So you put $10 ante, $10 for your bonus bet. That bonus bet is what you win your most amount of money on because it depends on if you get a pair or better, you win certain odds on that. So if you get a pair, you get 1-to-1, or no 2-to-1. Sorry, three of a kinds more, all that kind of stuff. Full house, straight, etc.
Cool.
But you have to just beat the dealer. That's it. If you beat the dealer, you win. And once you get your three cards, you want to keep playing. You got to put another bet on to keep playing, or you can fold and you lose your $20. So the way this works is the best hand you can get is um I guess they call it a royal straight, but it's spades. So queen, king, ace of spades. That's like the best hand. That's the most amount of money you can win. I think on a normal table it's like 400-to-1 or something.
oh wow,
But this casino, I don't know if it because it was new or whatever. It had a I guess rolling jackpot that was connected to other casinos. So it had like a little like electronic thing up there saying whatever the jackpot was at the time connected to all of the casinos. And if you hit that queen, king, ace of spades, you'd win that jackpot. And at the time, it was like 4,900 some odd dollars, just under $5,000. So I'm playing. This game's so simple that because you can't change what your outcome is. So whatever your cards are, they are. What you play or you don't. That's it. And the dealer has to have a queen or higher to qualify. So the way I like playing it is I would pick up all three cards at once and just look at the first card. If I see a queen or higher, I would just put it back down, not look at the other two. Just be surprised because if you have a queen or higher, you're gonna play. It's just like a basic qualifying hand. Just put your $10 up, whatever, and you play or whatever the bet is. So I picked it up and I saw a queen of spades. I'm gonna play this regardless. So I'll put it back down. Be surprised on what flops over. So the dealer flops all the cards over, flops mine over, and the guy next to me is like, "Dude, you got it." And I look at my cards and I see three spades. I'm like, oh, I got a flush. Sweet. It's like 6-to-1 or something, like $60 my one bet, whatever. I'm like, oh, sweet. That's awesome. He's like, no, you got it. And I looked down again and saw the queen, king, ace of spades. I started freaking out. At first, I was literally, I was like, are you serious? Like, and I started freaking out, like right in the casino. And I ended up winning the $4,900 on that rolling.
$4,900.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that was my biggest win. My mom and my sister were there at the time. They were like somewhere playing the slots. I called them up real quick saying, "You gotta come over here. Come over to the table right now, right now." They came over like all worried. I'm like, "Mom, I just won freaking almost $5,000." I was freaking out. I, I like.
But
bought the
did you
whole-
leave after you won that money?
Yes, I left.
Yep.
I
Good for you.
I tipped the dealer like $100. I bought a round for the table. I went and cashed it out. And I don't know what it is now, but at the time, anything under 5,000, you didn't have to pay tax on.
Taxes. Nice.
Yeah. So I went straight there, got the money. I asked for a security guard to walk us out because I know a lot of people just saw me win that just in case. And that was my biggest win. And what did I do shortly after that? Went and bought a Camaro. And that was like a down payment. So I didn't really spend it very well, but
It was a good time. You know, it's like I don't know. Some people talk about gambling in a bad light, and it is. There can be addictions. There's things you have to make sure you avoid to
Right.
not go down that bad rabbit hole. But the same thing can be talked about with alcohol, with a lot of stuff, with just greed in general. And it's just a matter of knowing, the your limitations personally. But personally, I don't have any problems with it. I don't ever bring in more money than I plan on losing, and I usually end up having a good time. Even
Right.
if I lose all the money, I make sure that I'm enjoying my time there, and it's all about having a good time in it. So that's a great story.
That's the thing. Like when I go and play, my budget's usually no more than like $200 or something.
Mm,
And sometimes, for example, like if I go to Delaware and I go out with my mom and grandmother, I usually just play slots with them. I like slots too. Playing
yeah.
you win different bonuses, that kind of stuff. Actually, it wasn't even that long ago. You guys probably saw on my Facebook. I don't know. It might have been like 4 or 5 months ago where I won that like $1,600 on a slot machine. Do you remember that or
I
no?
don't remember that part. No,
Mm-mm.
that's cool though.
I
I
was out
never
with
heard
my
of anyone. I never known anyone to win that
$1,600
much
on
in
a
a
slot
slot
machine.
machine.
yeah.
That is awesome.
That's
I was
good.
with my mom in Delaware, and we were out to lunch, and she's like, "I've been to Dover Downs forever." I'm like, "All right, well, let's just stop after lunch." She's like, "All right." We went in there,
Yeah.
and I just happened to, I so you can play minimum on a slot machine, which is like 50 cents a spin or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I might have been playing like $1, $1.50, a little higher, and I just hit, and it just kept going. And my mom was right next to me in the other machine, and we're freaking out. I'm like, "What the hell?" Like, okay, I'm glad. Like, thanks, mom. It's your idea to come here. Thank you.
You
So
have
with
some
those
little old
two
lady come
stories,
up and
the
say,
next time that I go to a casino, Brandon, you're coming with me
Yeah.
because I have horrible luck.
Alex, I remember that time where you were with us when it was me, my wife, you, Tracy, and Mark, and we went and ate dinner at Dover Downs, and then we played this a couple of these strange these games, like one of those big wheel of fortune games where you just put
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
something on. And at least me, I don't know about you, but I bought enough. I won enough money at least to pay for what I just ate at the restaurant. Like I don't know, I probably spent $100 on me and my wife's dinner, and I won just a little bit more than that. I'm like, I'm good,
Yeah.
my dinner's paid for, and we stepped away. But my favorite story, gambling, of which I don't been to too many casinos, really haven't. I mean, only just a couple maybe. So when me and my wife got married back in 2006, our honeymoon, we took a cruise, and we took the Alaskan cruise. We figured, it's because it's one of the more expensive cruises, and we saved up money. It's like might as well use the money now before we have kids and mortgage and a bunch of other necessities that we can't afford to do this anymore. So that's what we did. And it's a 7-day cruise. The very first night, they give you an itinerary for every day. These are the what's going on the ships. There's a bingo in this place. There's a comedian at this time at this place, and this, that, and the other. So the
Yeah.
very first night, you're out to sea, and of course, we're just wandering around trying to get the lay of the land, see what's going on. And they had free gambling lessons, is what they called it. I was like, what the heck? Let's check it out because they had a huge casino area, and they started over at the craps table, and they said, these are gambling lessons. We're going to kind of give you the bare bones rules on how to play the most popular games here at the casino. And so we went through craps, and understanding, what you're rolling for and what are the different bets that you can place and things like that. And of course, it's a relatively complex game. So they gave us, enough to know how to just to play and have a little fun with it.
Yeah.
And then we went over to roulette, and they showed the roulette wheel, and I thought it was just a matter of picking a number. It's like, no, you can pick a row of numbers, you can pick a cluster of 4, you can pick a color, this, that, and the other. Well, that was cool to learn. And then I think we went to like the blackjack or something. That's pretty straightforward. Most people at least have a better idea of how to play blackjack. But whoever stayed there for the whole lesson that they were giving out, they got a coupon, and the coupon was good for a $5 chip. And it's like, all right, everyone gets a coupon for $5 chip. Just bring it to the lady in the cage, and she'll give you a $5 chip. We're like, well, okay, that was neat. That was fun. It's like, well, let's go and find something else, see what else is going on. So we held on to those coupons until the last day of the cruise, which we did some like bingo and slot machines and just for fun. But we really didn't mess around there because we're in Alaska. Every time the boat docked, we're getting off and we're doing something. Or we went to a few comedy shows and watched a few bands and stuff like that. But we really didn't think much about the casino itself. The very last night, we still had these coupons in our room. I was like, let's go down there and get a couple $5 chips. When we went to the craps table, we bet bare minimums most of the time. Every now and then I throw something like on hard 8, just for the hell of it,
Right.
just to see what happens. But we were there for an hour and a half and walked away with $110. Didn't
Yeah.
risk any of our own money. Started with 2 coupons for free $5 chips and ended up walking away with $110.
That's
And
the best.
it's like I had a couple drinks. We stretched it out the whole time, but it was fun. It's
Yeah.
just it's good excitement. Didn't risk any of our own money. walked away with a little bit, and we're like, all right, we're good. We had fun. We got a little
Yeah.
money in our pocket and good times. So that's my biggest gambling story, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's one I remember because it was my honeymoon and it was a fun time.
That's the thing, though. It's not always about winning, like winning big. And trust me, like the big
Oh,
winnings
I'm there
I
for
had,
the entertainment. Yeah.
I've probably lost that over the last X amount of years. But I like going, like if I go with $100 or whatever, if I can play for a good 4 hours, I'm happy and walk away. Even if I
Right. You
lose
have
the
a few
100 or
drinks.
break even, I'm happy because there's
Mhm.
times you can go with $100 and lose it in like 15 minutes if you're playing.
Right.
Especially, well, actually, slots or tables don't even matter. You can lose it pretty quick, and it's like that's no fun. Then
Yeah.
you're tempted to pull out more money or whatever. But if I can play like $100 and play for 4 or 5 hours and even walk away even or even down that 100, that's fine. I just want to have fun because I enjoy doing it.
Right. You don't go into it hoping to make it rich and retire.
Yeah,
You
because
go into it
you're
with
not. Yeah,
you're having fun. It's like how much would you spend if you went to a nice restaurant that's going to have a nice band playing and you pay cover charge at the same time?
exactly.
You're paying a cover, you're paying for good food, you're paying for drinks throughout the night while you're sitting there listening to the good band. You got the buzz at the whole place. You're enjoying your time. Maybe you spent $100 or so, but you enjoyed that time. That was
Yeah.
money well spent. So yeah, as long as you have that mindset into it, I don't see anything wrong with it.
You got any stories, Alex? Or
So I'm not a whole lot. All right. So there's a reason why I picked the background that I have.
okay,
The background that I have
Empty casino.
has the two things that I look forward to most whenever I go to a casino: the bar and the slots. So
The sluts?
yeah, that
Oh.
too.
So someone had to say it. Someone had to say it.
yeah, it did sound like that. It did sound like that.
That's what I heard.
Wait, what casino you going to?
Right?
Yeah. Hey,
Wait.
I mean, I don't know what picture this casino is out of. I just found it online, but
Amsterdam?
maybe.
No.
So I mean, like, but most of the bars at a lot of these casinos are fully stocked with some really, really good bourbons and whiskeys and just, and it's a good opportunity for you to just sit down and say, you know what, I want to try that right there. And you can try it without having to buy the whole bottle at the liquor store and potentially waste 50, 60, 70 bucks or more on something that you might not like. So, it's a good opportunity for you to do some taste and everything and, meet some cool people around the bar. And then the slots, I mean, my wife and I, every once in a while, we'll go to Dover Downs and, we'll split $100 between the two of us, $50 from me. I usually run out of my $50 in like the first 15 minutes, maybe even less. I have horrible luck, but my wife, she'll sit down, she'll put the 50 in and start just hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. I think at one point she was up like $350.
You got to know when to stop her.
And I was like, no, I was like, that's cool. Like, we're good. Let's in. And we stopped, but I mean, we still had some time to kill. So I was like, let's just have some fun. Like, cause the way that I looked at it was, you know what, we already wrote off this $100. It's entertainment expense at this point, and we still have some time to kill. And that was the whole point while we were there. We weren't there. You don't go to a casino to make money.
Yeah.
You go to a casino to have fun.
Have fun and
So,
maybe get lucky otherwise.
Right. Yeah. If you get lucky, and
Yeah.
and end up walking out with more money than you came in with,
Yep.
cool. But
Yep.
If you have the time to kill, and that was the thing, like, we obviously with the baby, we don't have as many opportunities
Right.
without the baby anymore. Which is
Yeah,
fine. But
the
whenever we
struggle's
do
real.
get those opportunities, we want to make sure that we milk every last
That's right.
minute out of it as possible. So, and they just made a bunch of renovations to Dover Downs. They just put in the Sugar Factory.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And the
which
bar looks nice.
I see. I don't know. So that bar is actually part of the Sugar Factory, and they're not allowing you to just go up and sit down at the bar. You have to make a reservation at the Sugar Factory, and then the reservation that you make has to be at the bar. And because of COVID, everyone has to sit 6 feet apart. So there's like 5 people at the bar, even though this bar is like massively long.
Yeah.
And everyone else has to sit at tables and everything. It's just not the
That's
same.
too bad.
That's crappy. I mean, because the bar area, like, it looks nice. You walk
But
in,
it's
it looks like
in
Vegas.
their
back there.
defense, I guarantee you they spent a lot of money on that bar just to be able to have it full of people, and they're not happy about it either.
Well, let me tell you, it looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
It is an eye catcher. Because
Yeah.
as opposed to the bar that used to be there was like really outdated. kind of dingy looking. Lighting wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
And now it's like marble countertops and
Ooh.
everything's white and
A ton of
tons of
light.
lights.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool. Now, as far as like gambling stories, the closest that I would probably have to a gambling story that would be like, at table games, because you guys both talked about playing the table games, was when Brandon and I went to Las Vegas. Now, earlier, in one of our earlier episodes, we did show a clip of
Yeah.
Brandon and I in Las Vegas, or at least Brandon,
My rubber
the-
chicken and pink cowgirl hat.
yeah.
Yep.
So it was that trip. It was a bachelor party for a friend of ours, and we were over at Fremont Street in Vegas at the Golden Nugget. And you guys were knew a lot more about playing table games and everything, and I didn't have a ton of money to spend, so I was just walking around and drinking my alcoholic beverage, watching you guys lose your money.
Hey,
And
You're
I
not
was having a
gambling,
great
you're
time.
drinking there.
Right. Well, I remember. So I was just walking around, like checking out the games and everything, and like some of them had like the description of what the game is, and I walked by one table a couple times. No one was sitting at it. As dealer was just sitting there by herself. So like I walked up to her and I was like, "Hey, listen,
You look
I'm
so nice.
I'm not, I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't plan on playing or anything like that." But you look
I
kind of
remember
lonely.
this.
So I just sat
I
down and just
remember
started
this.
talking to her. You remember this?
Yeah.
And I look up and you guys were all just staring at me like I was probably talking to her for a good like 15,
Yeah.
20
We know
minutes.
Alex is a talker. He literally sat down.
No.
You didn't even gamble, right? You just sat there and talked to her.
Just sat there and talked to her.
This was the one time the dealer paid a patron to go away.
Yeah. I was bored.
Yeah.
You guys are all over there losing your money.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And one of us in the group lost a lot of money. He kept calling family members to send him more money.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll be that guy.
I
Luckily
know,
we stayed in the Flamingo, and
Yeah.
what I liked most about it is the fact that it had a food court with some relatively inexpensive food. You can get
Yeah.
yourself a sandwich and stuff like that. Everywhere else to get food in Vegas was like crazy expensive, or at least everywhere else on the main strip. So
that was that same trip. I have a video too of that. That's when you guys ate those really hot peppers. Remember when we first got
yeah.
there?
Well, that was like the first day. It was at Jimmy
Yeah.
Buffett's Margaritaville.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the burgers that you order comes out with like a full like big
pepper?
jalapeno pepper.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we were like, oh, we're just gonna eat the whole
Yeah,
jalapeno
that's like
pepper.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
It
me.
was
Not me.
yeah. No.
I just filmed it.
I wasn't even drunk yet.
He said, I did that sober.
Yeah.
That doesn't help your case.
For real. Yeah. That's some good stories.
That's funny.
I think my
You-
favorite game that my favorite table game, like you were talking earlier when you played it, is craps. Like
Yeah.
you always, there's a reason why you always that's always the loudest table. Everyone's always cheering. that
There's
kind
a
of stuff.
buzz. There's a buzz
Yeah.
to it.
That's
Yeah.
why I like it, because it's like everyone. No, you're not against each other,
Right.
and
Everyone's cheering each other on.
yeah. I mean, there's always that random guy, uh, like you said, craps has a lot of bets. Like it gets real
Mhm.
confusing, but there's some bets on there that actually go against the roller, like the don't come and a bunch of other
Right.
bets.
Yeah.
There's always that like one random guy or two who's like betting against the roller, which is no fun. But usually everyone else is betting the bets where if the roller hits, everyone's winning. That's why everyone's
Right.
cheering. That's why it's so much fun. But that's probably my favorite game.
I was such a rookie with that too, because when, of course, if you haven't played craps before, the rolls take turns. It goes around the table. Everyone gets a turn to roll. When it's your turn, you're the one rolling it until it hits 7, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it goes to the next guy. And everyone's like, all right, that run's done. And it goes to the next guy. So I rolled the dice. And I don't know how I did it. Wasn't trying to do it. But of course, when you roll, it has to hit the other wall across
Yeah.
the table. Am I right?
Yep.
I rolled it in a way that one die jumps up out of the table and just goes across the room.
Yep.
I'm like,
I've done
they're
that
like,
so
it's
many
all right.
times.
We got another one. We can't go get that one because that could be compromised now.
Yep.
They get another one, and I roll. I did it again.
Oh,
One die
man.
stayed in, the other one went
Back
across.
to back.
And I swear, and you can ask my wife.
That's
And then
definitely bad luck.
they said, this is the last one. I said, I'm sorry. And the person running the table, nice lady. I mean, I don't know if she was Asian or whatever, but she was obviously working there from, she was there from another country. A lot of the people on cruise ship are like, it'll have
Yeah.
name tags says like from Argentina or from Brazil or whatever. So she had very broken English. She said, don't, and I said, I'm sorry. She said, don't be sorry. Just don't do it again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
okay. It was so embarrassing. So like, I'm rolling it. Like I'm really rolling it. I'm not throwing it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just rolling it and I hope it gets to the other side. And then my turn was done. It went moved on. But yeah, that was embarrassing. I was that guy, the rookie guy. But
Yeah.
it's still fun. It's good.
And with craps,
I
there's a
forgot
lot.
all about that.
There's a lot of like superstitions that people have
Yeah.
on craps. And,
Yes, there is.
uh,
That's why, you know what? That's like I've been with friends that go over to the craps tables, and I've heard about all the different superstitions.
yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, come on over, come on over." I'm like, "Nope, I'm bad luck. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to anywhere near that because I'm not going to be blamed for someone
Cool on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen that
Appar-
movie, The Cooler, with William H Macy?
No.
Mm-mm.
That's an interesting one. He's a very like Eeyore type guy. You know who William H Macy is, at least. But I mean, you know him if you saw him. If you don't know, recognize the
Maybe,
name.
yeah, maybe.
Really short, kind of older actor, but really famous. He's been in a lot of movies. Anyway, he's a really like dreary type guy. Eeyore, I'm a, my life is terrible.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. Well, the casino looked at him, and apparently, at least I don't know if this is a real thing. I guess you'd have to talk to some old school, Vegas guys to find out if this is a real thing. But he was hired on at the casino to walk around the tables and just basically just put a bad juju on the table, whether his bad mood or just touching. And it showed him in the movie. Someone who's on a hot roll, he just go over and just brush against their shoulder, touch their shoulder, and walk away, and they'd start rolling bad. Like his bad luck's just rubbing off on everybody.
Yeah.
See?
And that was his job is to go around and cool the tables down that have gotten hot. And of course, it turned into a big drama after that and everything. It was really interesting, but yeah, he was the cooler. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Apparently, it's real lucky if you're playing and you have a girl come over and roll for you because you're allowed to do that. If you're sitting there and your wife comes over, your girlfriend or any girl, whatever, they can roll for you. That's apparently good luck, and you're not supposed to say before the point's established. You're not supposed to say like oh come on 7 or 11 because before the point 7-11's good.
Right.
After the point's not. But you're not supposed to say that out loud before the point's established. That's bad luck. It's like a bunch of stuff. But makes it fun. It's a fun game.
You guys seen any like gambling themed movies? Like
Yeah. What's the one I like? They call 21.
yeah, 21 with oh gosh, what's his name?
Is that the one with all the math kids? And
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
MIT kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one. I
like that
enjoyed
one.
that.
Yeah, that was real good.
That took counting cards to a whole nother level.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That was a good movie.
And the other one that one always comes to mind when I think about gambling movies or casino movies. That one in Maverick with it's an older movie with gosh, of course now I'm drawing blanks with names. But the guy from Lethal Weapon.
Oh,
The white guy. And they did the Passion of Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson, yeah.
Yeah. He played in Maverick, and he was a gambler. Of course, this is like Western times, and he went on like a riverboat, casino, and all that stuff. But there's one scene in the movie where he walks up to a table in some saloon. They're playing poker, and he's like, "Can I sit in?" And of course, everyone's suspicious of the new guy. Nobody knows who he is. It's like, no, you can't sit in. And he's basically trying to talk his way into getting in on this game that they already have going on at this table. And he finally tells me, he's like, "I'll tell you what, for the first hour, I will lose. I'll fold hands and I will lose. I'll ante up. I'll put in my blind and I will lose every time for at least 1 hour." Everyone looked around at each other. Everyone's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." So sure enough, for one whole hour, he just loses. And then after that, he looked at his watch and he's like, "All right." And so he starts playing, and of course he ends up taking everyone's money. And now, of course, they're accusing him of cheating. Well, then he goes back around the whole table and explains everyone's tell. Like the girl that was sitting there twirls her hair whenever she's bluffing, or the other dude does whatever when he's bluffing or when he's got a really
poker.
good hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he explains that he was spending that whole hour just figuring out everyone's tell. And once he figured out everyone's tell, then he could play the game however he wanted because he knew how people were playing, if they had a good hand or a bad hand, and how they were playing. So that was always it's a good classic movie, gambling movie. I always like that.
Now, speaking of which, we didn't mention poker. Have you guys played poker at a casino ever?
Not a casino. I play with
Nope.
friends, and
Yeah.
I've looked into it some. Like I watched a lot of Daniel Negreanu is a big
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em
Yep.
famous guy, and Phil Ivey.
I'm a huge poker guy. Like I love poker. Playing with friends definitely for sure. For a while, actually, back when I won that $5,000, I was playing. I was kind of technically unemployed. I think I was collecting unemployment at the time because, oh yeah, I was just off orders. Well, I was just off orders, so I had no job, and they gave unemployment for it. Whatever. So I was playing poker full time for about a year at a casino, 4 days a week. And so when you play poker at a casino, if you're not like an avid poker player, but you know the game, you like it, you're really better off just playing on like a Friday, Saturday night. Because that's when all the other people who like poker that don't play all the time play as well. So you have more
Amateur
of a
night.
chance. Yeah, it basically. The only downside to that is you get a lot of drunk guys playing, and they'll play whatever and hit these big pots, even though they have no clue what they're doing. Or they're really drunk,
They have no strategy.
so that can happen. But it's still definitely good for if you don't play that often. But if you actually play during the day at a casino, you're playing with a lot of old heads. These old guys who are playing there every single day, and they're tight. They play tight. They play strict, and it's tough to play.
They
But
play smart. Yeah.
they play smart. But it's a lot of fun.
I didn't realize how much strategy there was in poker. Like I started like looking into it. Like I watched a lot of Daniel Negreanu's videos, and I watched I don't know, there was some like lesson thing I signed up for and like learned about like deep lessons into poker, everything from, you know, hitting on the button,
Yep.
if you're, position is one of the biggest things actually to where
Yep.
you are sitting on the table as to where the cards are being dealt from. And there's a whole mathematical equation as to if you have certain cards, you should keep going or you should fold,
Right.
and what's going on. There's edges. I always thought it was, I know what hands win. Every now and then I'm going to lie and see if I can,
Yeah.
show, and still take people's money. Every now and then I'm just going to go and I'm just going to play
Yeah.
by luck. But it is a lot of
That's
strategy. I
that's
mean, there's a
good
lot of
for
psychological strategy too, but there's a lot of
right.
extra strategy goes into it. I was really surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was neat.
Yep.
Have you seen the thing about Phil Ivey? He's another famous poker player.
Yep.
You see that big lawsuit he was involved in?
Oh, recently?
Yeah, I think it just recently settled. I would like last year. I think is when it settled. He was in a lawsuit with a casino because they're mad. He took him for like $10 million. But I looked at some of the backstory. It was really interesting. So they weren't playing poker because he's a big poker guy. They're actually playing baccarat, which is just a different type of card game. I don't know where it's from. It was from Asia or something like that.
Yeah.
But there was this. I can't remember where the casino was. They wanted him to come and just play at their casino, and having Phil Ivey here is going to bring other people, and we'll give you a room, and just we advertise that you're going to be here playing this game during this tournament. And he's like, yeah, sure. So he said, but I have some conditions, and it was going to be a baccarat game. So he gave certain conditions. He wanted like a certain dealer. He wanted a certain deck of cards. He gave all these conditions, and they honored every single condition. Well, he ends up taking them for a lot of money, and they swore up and down he was cheating. And come to find out, and they agreed to all these conditions. So one of the things that they did was he requested a specific deck of cards, a brand and color of a deck of cards. What was interesting about this particular deck of cards is there was a discrepancy in that manufactured deck of cards. He knew what that discrepancy was. So he ultimately he knew what every card was as it was being dealt, because he worked so hard at learning those discrepancies on that particular deck of cards. And he had a partner that was there with him doing the exact same thing. And they worked together and just took the casino for a lot of money. Oh, I think the other thing was, I think he insisted on an Asian dealer because they had smaller hands or something like that, so he could see the cards better. So he came out and met it. He's like, you agreed to these circumstances. I laid out and I just won the game. And what do y'all think? What's the moral answer to that? Do you think that was cheating? If you could see the back of a card and you knew exactly what the card was, and it was their cards, Is that cheating, or what's the difference between them actually writing the actual suit and number on the back of each card if you knew what it was and they agreed to use those cards?
I think it's not cheating if they agreed to use it. You have a high level poker player coming in, well, card player in general. Like, this guy knows what he's doing.
He's very smart too. Like
Very smart.
he's one of these. He's one of the smart guys that doesn't have a whole lot of personality,
Yeah.
but you could tell he's like,
If you watch
stupid
him,
smart.
you see his brain working.
Exactly.
And this guy's requesting these specific situations here, and you agree to it.
Agree to it.
That's on you.
Yeah, I think they end up settling on some large amount, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted with is it cheating or is it not cheating? Because on one hand, yeah, I want to say it's not cheating because, you know, a casino, as a casino, they are literally in the business of betting, and they should have questioned the fact of, you know, why he's asking for this specific deck of cards and dug into it a little bit more. And, you know, I'm bad on them for not doing that. However, any way, I mean, I don't know, like rigged, cheating, any way of him knowing what the card is or him having an advantage on top of anyone else outside of just being very observant to, you know, see someone's, say if someone has a tell or you know, I mean, because it's not too different. Like, you can't count cards. If you get caught counting cards, you'll get banned forever from that casino.
Yeah.
But that's that, and I think that's the caveat to banning people for counting cards when they believe someone is counting cards. You're counting cards. You're using a strategy and math to do that. So the casinos say, you know, it's called cheating, but they also say we have the right to deny service to anybody. We think you're doing this, so we're just going to say you're not allowed to gamble here, and we're going to tell all our casino friends.
Right?
Is that cheating, or is that just smart play?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a fine line right there.
It's a fine line, yeah.
It's a big gray area.
It is technically smart play. Technically, no matter what, it is smart play. But the casino's not going to like that, so they're going to ban it.
There's people that do things like they'll get like little tiny mirrors to put on their fingers, or, you know, weird little things. That's like different.
Yeah,
that's straight cheating. You know, that is taking an unfair advantage that no one else has. But if you're just using the exact same rules that everyone else has that can play by, and you're just, you know, I don't know, capitalizing off of your knowledge.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, who's to say that someone else doesn't come into that casino and recognize that particular card and that deck of cards and know, hey, these have manufacturer defects, and it just so happens that I've studied all of these cards and I know exactly what they are as well.
Yeah,
you know,
it's no different than
the chances of that happening are astronomical.
Yeah,
but then again, that's what casinos do. They deal in astronomical chances.
Yep. That's the thing. They take a risk too, even though it's heavily in their favor. They take a risk that someone's actually going to play well. It shouldn't all be by chance, but yeah, that's my thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
all right, let's I think we're running around an hour right now. Let's end this. I have a few would you rather questions. We'll do kind of like a speed round of them. Just they're all casino or gambling related, and we'll end it with that. You guys sound good?
Cool.
The first one is, would you rather bet on a single number at the roulette table or on black or red? So basically, betting on a single number, I think if you bet on a single number and you win, is 35-1 or 36-1, I believe, on a single number. So you can win a lot more, but obviously your odds are a lot less. Or black or red, which is 50-50, but you're only going to win 1-1.
I'm going with the odds.
Let's say it's a $100 bet or whatever, $100 bet.
Yeah, I'm going with the odds. I mean, I'm bet on the color. The odds are better that I'll end up with something more.
So you're going the safer route.
Yeah, it is safer. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's basically what the real question is, you know, what type of person are you? Or the type of person that, you know, sticks to the safe route, or at least in terms of
you go with your
money.
gut.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think I would go with, you know, the higher payout. I'd bet on the number.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
one time I win, I want it to be worth it.
Well, and not only that, but I don't gamble very often.
Yeah,
so it's not like, you know, it's something that I typically do, and it would be one of those, like, you know, rare occasions where I got a few $100 extra bucks, and I'm like, all right, I'm prepared to lose this. And if I don't
Yeah.
lose it, then I know it's going to be a big payout.
Well, that's where it comes
Yeah,
down
that-
to is what kind of gambler are you? Are you a emotional gambler or are you a strategic gambler?
Yeah.
So if you're going there because you want to have a good time, you want that feel good feeling, then you're going to just throw caution to the wind and just try to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to use strategy and be smart about it, then you're going to play slightly different. So it all
Yeah.
depends on how you want to approach it.
And the payout.
Chances are I'm just going to end up at the bar getting drunk anyway. So
Yeah, either way. Like you lose it, you're like, I'm gonna go drink my sorrows away. If you win, I'm gonna celebrate and drink
Yep.
my victory.
yep.
Well, that's a good segue into this next would you rather question then, as far as being safe or taking a risk. Would you rather trade $100 for a guaranteed $1,000 or bet $1,000 for a 50-50 shot to win $10,000?
That's pretty much the same question as the first
Yeah.
one.
It is just with but the first one was $100. You bet on red or black. It's 1-to-1, so you'll win back 200. So you're
Right.
only winning $100 in profit. Or if you bet $100, you win 3,500. Let's say I think it's 35-to-1. This one is you can trade $100 to win a guaranteed $1,000. So it's a higher payout for the safer bet, or a 50-50 shot to win 10 grand. You're winning what
50-50
20
shot
to
is
1 or
really
whatever
good
it is.
odds though. That's a
It
flip
It
of
is.
a coin.
I know.
That's better odds
Honestly.
than all casinos that I've ever been to.
Yeah. So
50-50. You know
on
what?
that
And
one, I would lean more towards the.
I would definitely lean. There's a guarantee of $1,000, but then I would look at that statistic of 50-50, a flip of a coin. Like, you know what? I'll flip a coin this time. Now, as opposed to
that.
you got to flip 20 coins and they all got to land on heads. It's
Yeah.
like
Now realize though, I mean, it's out of your pocket, so you are spending that $1,000 out of your pocket,
Yeah.
which is not like a cheap amount.
no,
Yeah.
no,
To
no. That's
possibly,
not. That's that's a hard pill to
the
swallow.
first question was $100. Okay, if you lose $100, not the end of the world.
Right.
This one, you're betting 1,000 and maybe win 10 grand, but there's that 50-50 chance you're losing $1,000.
Yeah, and there's 100% chance I'll lose $1,000. I got to pay for a divorce too. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so
So
yeah, you
Right.
got. There's a lot of different factors to think about.
Yeah.
that one though, I think I still would lean. If I had the $1,000, it's assuming you have the $1,000, whether or not it'll hurt you or not to lose it, you have it. I would risk that to maybe win the 50-50 shot to win 10 grand.
For a 50-50 shot, man, that's definitely harder because that's pretty good odds.
It's pretty good odds, yeah. So yeah, I'm picking that.
Have you heard
Yep,
of
I'm gonna-
the Monty Hall principle, the old Monty Hall game?
No.
So it's this old game show back in the 50s or 60s, but it turned into a bit of a mathematical phenomenon. So basically, the way the game show worked was you have, and they talked about this in that movie 21, but you have 3 doors, and you have to pick one door. One door is going to have a brand new car, and the other 2 doors are going to have nothing. And so you get to pick one door.
Ooh,
And so let's say you pick door number 1 out of the 3 doors.
yeah.
Well, they don't tell you if you got it right yet. First they do is they open up one of the other 2 doors that shows it empty. And so let's say they open up door number 3. There's nothing in there. So you either have an opportunity to change your pick from door number 1 to door number 2, or you stay with door number 1.
Mhm.
And the odds are better that you change your pick than if you were to stay with your gut feeling at that particular door. Mathematically, it actually is better for you to change your mind at that point.
Oh,
And
really?
more often than not, yeah.
I would think the odds are the same because it's still a third. It's
No, but see, here's the thing.
33% chance to win.
Okay, so gosh, all right. So see, no, if you think about it, it's not because all right. At first, yes, you have a 33% chance. So odds are that the door I picked is not the winning door, right?
Right.
Because
yeah.
you only have 33% chance, and there's 66% chance it's one of the other doors.
Yeah.
So let's say I give you those odds, and I say, now, if you were to bet that you picked the wrong door because odds are you did, I'm going to show you another wrong door on the other side because you know it's likely going to be one of those other 2 doors. So if I show you one that's empty, now odds are better because you already know odds were bad against you the first time.
Right.
Now I'm showing you that one of the other 2 doors is empty. And since you know that odds are it was one of these 2 to begin with, and I showed you the empty one, you're better off moving it to that other door of those other
Right.
2 because odds are still better on your side to actually change your option.
Okay.
It's going
See,
by
this is
statistics is all it is.
Yeah.
this is why I don't
Right.
gamble, because I'm already
Wasn't good
lost.
at it. Yeah. And I was terrible at
So
statistics.
Montreal principle, there's
I can barely
YouTube
say the word
videos and everything on that, but it's really interesting. But see, that's the whole basis of the whole gambling. You know, you're going
Yeah.
with your gut. You know, I'm gonna put the roulette. I'm gonna put on this number because that's so and so's birthday.
Yeah.
No, was that, you know, it's a feel good thing. So you're either an emotional gambler or you're a strategy gambler. Being an emotional gambler, there's nothing wrong with that because you're there for a good time. You don't care. You just throw caution and win, and it's fun to throw caution and win sometimes.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of sports gambling though, before
Oh.
fantasy football and everything.
Sure.
And,
Oh yeah.
you know,
fantasy football, yeah.
I would probably do that more, just because it would get me, it would force me to make a deeper dive into whatever that sport is and what's
Yeah,
going
but
on,
yeah.
and pay attention to it week to week, and
Plus, you're actually having fun with that. Like in my fantasy football league, it's $50 buy-in, but you're playing the whole year. You get to play all the players. Like you're having fun no matter what, whether you
Yeah,
lose at
yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
It's not
There's
just
a lot
like
of jaw jacking back and forth, and it's
yeah,
all
there's
yeah.
more
It's
involved.
definitely good
It's
fun.
not like just going to the
Yeah.
table putting 50 and
It's a social thing too.
and within 2 minutes you could lose that 50 or whatever, if you're playing roulette or whatever. This last would you rather is very generalized, so I'm not really sure if we want to like make it more specific to answer it or not. But it's would you rather gamble at a casino or play the lottery? You get to choose. Now I don't know what criteria we want to use there as far as like at the casino, but or what amount of money. But if you had to gamble, would you rather put I don't know, let's say $100 into the lottery or
I'd rather do it
$100?
I'd rather be at a casino, because even if you lose that $100, you likely enjoyed the atmosphere and had a good time.
Yeah.
In
It
one
also
way or
it
Yeah,
also
another.
it all
it's
circles
about
back
the
to what we were talking
experience.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the experience. So yeah, are you in it for a large payout, or are you just in it to enjoy your toe? And
Yeah,
because
and
we're
there's
all
usually
not
a bunch of other stuff going on at most casinos anyway.
Right,
Instead of just
right.
going there and playing those games and everything. Like I mentioned, they've got the bars. So a
Yeah.
lot of times they have live bands, or they'll have a DJ in a club, or all kinds of stuff.
Which is the reason to like for Vegas because I talked to a lot of people who haven't been to Vegas yet, and they're like, "Oh, I don't gamble." But the thing is, like, you don't have to necessarily just have to gamble to go to Vegas. It's the atmosphere, all the
Yeah,
restaurants, the shows you can go to, the stuff happening on the street, this and that. I mean, Alex, like when we went, a few of us were real big gamblers. We like that, plus everything else, but we're big gamblers. But some of us weren't. You can enjoy Vegas without necessarily really liking gambling.
definitely. Yep.
It's that atmosphere.
I probably only gambled with about $200 the whole time I was there.
Hmm.
Mm.
That was it.
I think I brought like 1,000. Just
Yeah.
gamble with.
So, well,
Pretty
not
sure I
only
lost
that,
it.
but you and Dave and Larny, like all them,
Yeah.
just hearing some of the money that they were playing with, Dave's dad, and some of the money lost and some of the money
Okay.
gained. I was like, oh.
So before we end this, that's the other thing too. We were talking about emotional, like gambling emotionally or gambling without that emotion. Here's the other problem: drinking while gambling. Because you
Yeah.
speak of like Dave's dad, especially. I remember he stayed up that one night. I think he never slept. We got up
No.
the next morning. He was at the tables the whole night, but you're getting free drinks the whole time at the table, and he was
Right.
wasted.
Why do you think they're free?
Exactly. So that's the other problem.
If you watch any of those poker tournaments, they don't drink.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see one guy with a drink with rocks. Chances are it's just like seltzer water or something in there.
Yeah.
Like because they got to stay sharp. It's like those guys are in those poker tournaments. It is mentally taxing and exhausting because they are playing strategy the entire time. That is how they got to that caliber of play, is just by smart play, not numb drunken play. But
there's only one
everything is
poker
better
show
player.
that I watch. If you ever seen it on TV, watch it. It's actually very entertaining to watch. It's called well, there's two. There's one called Poker After Dark and one called Poker Night. Poker Night in America, I think it's called.
Poke who
Poker at
tonight?
night.
Yeah, so one's called Poker After Dark. No,
Sorry.
Poker Night.
Sorry.
Poker
I got
After
the bad-
Dark.
I'll be
Whoop.
the bad
Poker
joke
at
guy
Went over my
night.
tonight.
head. Whoop.
I'm
No,
the
it's a good
bad joke
joke.
tonight.
It's a good joke. It's went over my head.
You should always poker at night.
Which
You
is
can't see.
surprising to go over my head. But yeah, Poker After Dark and Poker Night in America. It's basically, but what it is it's a bunch of high level poker players, professional poker players, and it's cash games, not tournaments. So it's just like 6 guys playing a cash game, but they're playing with like $50,000 buy-ins, and the blinds are like $200, $400. But obviously they're playing with money, which is nothing to them. You know what I mean? But on
Right.
those shows, they actually drink. Like they're drinking actual like whiskey, whatever, beers the whole night because it's just it's play money for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's a cash game, so not a tournament. So if you ever watch those, watch them because they're very entertaining. Because some guys actually get like drunk on there legit, and it's pretty entertaining.
We were talking about it beforehand because I'm into all this manipulation and magic and stuff like that. So I've actually followed a lot of guys that are really good, and they do poker, they do gambling demonstrations, basically how somebody would cheat at gambling, in obviously a very honest way. And one guy that I follow a lot is Jason Ladani. He's done some consulting on some TV channels and for casinos on how to catch people that are probably cheating at cards. So that's another whole world altogether. But I found very
Yeah.
interesting. I've actually read a lot of books about it too. It's pretty cool. Different ways to shuffle and deal and sleights of hands and things like that, stacking decks and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So that's always good fun.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that concludes our episode. Another good episode, I think.
Yeah. Good talk. That was
Good,
fun.
good wheat beer. Good, yeah. Good. Yeah. Good wheat beers. Good gambling talk. Good some would you rather questions. I think we're gonna do our usual. Well, I don't know about Alex, but I mean, Earl can play some Call of Duty now.
Yep.
I
Sounds
might
good.
I might play a couple rounds.
All right. And other than
Can't
that,
help
we'll
it.
do one final cheers. I got a little bit left here. I'll crack up another one for the game. All right. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Good
like-
talk.
Cheers.
Like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Untapped, social media, all that stuff. It'll be all in the description below. Cheers.
There.